There are claims that the Chinese Communist Party is backing left-wing protests in America. The topic is back in the spotlight as anti-ICE demonstrations and rallies supporting Venezuela's ousted leader Nicolas Maduro have picked up again. A congresswoman this week subpoenaed a pro-Beijing billionaire who is suspected of bankrolling the organized protests. Notably, this American businessman lives in China. NTD's Melina Weisskopf reports.
Anti-ICE protests starting up again in Minnesota, and protests opposing the capture of communist dictator Nicolas Maduro popped up in New York City.
We saw it in the protests that were pro-Maduro, supposedly, where everyone showed up with the exact same protest sign, paid for by individuals largely based out of China. There's a real concern here that we have a vivid fifth column approaching on U.S. shores that are trying to advance a pro-Beijing agenda.
The groups behind these protests, like the Party for Socialism and Liberation, are suspected to be a socialist network bankrolled by a China-based billionaire named Nelvil Singham.
But when those things happen, and they're sensitive and they try to support, quite frankly, our enemies, and China is not a friend of the U.S., then my guess is there's probably some illegal activity.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna described Singham as the funding arm of the CCP.
He is definitely someone that is anti-American in ideology, and regardless of where you might stand, even on topics like Israel versus Palestine, is funding certain groups that actually sow discord in this country with no efforts to actually resolve the issues, only to get us to fight one another.
Congresswoman Luna has moved to subpoena Singham to testify before the House Oversight Committee, emphasizing that if Singham doesn't comply, lawmakers will hold him in contempt.
What we've uncovered is I feel like the tip of the iceberg still, and so there's a lot more work to be done, and then bring the swift arm of justice behind it.
The committee will probe the links between Singham and the CCP. When she made the motion to subpoena Singham on Wednesday, the top Democrat on the committee urged his side of the aisle to support it.
I understand these concerns. I'm going to recommend that we vote yes on the Luna motion.
The pro-Beijing billionaire has been under the microscope for several months. The Oversight Committee opened their investigation into Singham last summer, and former Senator Marco Rubio previously referred him to the DOJ. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
Before we take a closer look into who Neville Singham is and his ties to China, let's first look at one group deeply involved in the anti-ICE protests, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. It's a communist political party based in the U.S. that openly supports the Chinese regime. Over the years, Neville Singham has reportedly funneled more than $20 million to the Justice and Education Fund, a nonprofit with leadership ties to the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The fund has also supported several other U.S.-based pro-Marxist groups. So who is Neville Singham? He's a pro-China tech mogul, an American living in Shanghai with his wife, Jody Evans. Singham once worked as a consultant for Huawei, the Chinese telecom giant blacklisted by the U.S. as linked to the Chinese military. Beyond that, he also shares office space in Shanghai with a Chinese propaganda firm. A 2023 New York Times investigation revealed a photo from Singham's office showing young people gathered beneath a red banner that read, "Always follow the party." Hanging nearby was a portrait of China's Communist Party leader, Xi Jinping. What's more, Singham's wife is a socialist activist. She co-authored a book called China is Not Our Enemy, with a researcher connected to Beijing-linked entities. She has also described Uyghurs as terrorists and pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong as rioters. In an interview with the New York Times, both Singham and his wife denied taking orders from the Chinese Communist Party. They said their actions reflect their own personal beliefs. This is the couple behind funding radical movements in the U.S.